Hello and welcome to the Black Mind Podcast. I am Jeff. I'm recording on my AMD machine this time. Sadness is among us.
Because apparently you're Thor. You shock electricity and everything.
Fuck you, Josh. You know that's not true and it's not funny.
It's a little bit funny.
It's a very emotional time right now.
It's a little bit funny.
It's a very emotional time right now for everyone in the server.
No, it isn't.
Myself included.
No,
Allan cried for about 15 minutes. It was either Allan or me, and I'm saying it's Allan.
The only emotional disturbance I'm getting right now is fucking my throat that I want to be better, and my sinuses.
But it's okay, guys, because I was off school, and I played a shitload of Destiny, and I bought one game on the Steam sale.
I didn't buy any games on the Steam sale.
You are a fucking genius, sir. I should have not done that.
Actually, I really did want to buy some of the games. I was just like, no, Allan, don't do this.
Don't get in debt, Allan. Be intelligent, Allan. Save money.
Don't give in to the temptation.
Don't give in to the Great Magnet.
The Great Magnet. Fucking goddamn it.
Mother Earth.
Okay. The Great Magnet is a spiteful force. If you watch the Disc Show, I recommend watching the episode where Dick explains how Matic lost his iTunes feed, which is this link that I sent into the podcast chat, and It's absolutely hilarious, where it explains what the Great Magnet is. And basically, the Great Magnet has spited me, and I do not know why. Maybe it's because I haven't been living up to my spiteful nature that I used to live up to all the time.
Mean total hardcore internet troll?
No, I used to sit there. Somebody would say something like retarded, and I would comment like quickly. I'd
so hard.
Like,
you mean
real life hardcore internet troll?
You'd be witty, is what you mean to say.
Yeah, it'd be witty, but like it would be something like where somebody goes like, social justice is the greatest. And I was like, you know that you're fucking wrong, right? And here's why, and here's all the facts that say you're wrong, and here's everything that's wrong. Oh, and here's North Korea, and here's this, and here's this, and there's this. And shall I continue? Yes? Okay, here's this. Are you done? Okay, well, you're a Nazi. Good day. You're the thing that you
Actually,
hate.
fun fact, me and my mom got into an argument over the gender wage gap today. Because you know how like the CEO, women CEOs are like, oh, they make 68 cents to the man's dollar. And it's like, yeah, okay, so even if they're working on a wage, because she was like, oh yeah, they're working on a wage. She's like, okay, and are these the CEOs of the same job? Well, no. It's like, so automatically they're not doing the same job. They're just CEOs of other companies, which means they might actually be paid entirely differently. And we got into, and she's like, "Oh, well, it's illegal." And it's like, yes, you just get payment records from the company, and then just throw them at, and just get your lawyer to check. And like, if it is the case, then you just bring it to the court.
This isn't a fight worth having, Allan. You just sit there and nod. That's all I've learned.
You can just have a mild disagreement. But
we did.
Yeah. I do that often.
Far as it goes.
Mint is just cold spicy. What the fuck?
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen that in several of my Discord chats now.
Okay, well, guys, I got a few things I got to talk to you about. I played Into the Breach, and I might be playing Into the Breach right now. And let me tell you, boys and girls,
it's good.
It makes me so happy, and I might put another 100 hours into this game because this is made by the same individuals who made FTL.
Oh, really?
So Yes.
So in other words, it's a really good game.
Yep.
In other words, it is a game that doesn't do anything stupid. It is really good. Yes, it's entirely that. So if we check my what games have I put the most hours into? FTL I have 167 hours in. The closest secondary is PUBG, and I have 141. So that's a lot of fucking hours. And I think this game I've already put into 13.5 hours, I believe.
That's not so bad.
13.5 hours.
What's the number of hours that I've got at my most game? I think it's like if it's only, how long have you had the game? Is the question. Is the better question.
A week.
A week? Yeah, only actually 13 hours is not that much.
Yeah, like I'm not going as fucking hardcore as I once was.
Like I have one of my favorite games, which is the Sword of the Stars and Sword of the Stars 2. If I actually looked at the amount of hours I've played of that game, of those two games specifically, it would be I almost guarantee you I'd have almost over 2,000 hours, because back when I initially got the original Sword of the Stars game,
oh yeah,
way back when it came out, I probably dumped easily a fucking 1,000 hours into that game.
You dumped over 1,000 of hours into this one game.
It's just that's the thing is, if you love the game or you enjoy it a lot, you'll fucking just put so many things into it, because why the fuck not?
That's a good point.
And it's because again, that's another good example for me is one of my games that I'm currently playing a lot of is World of Warships. I probably have 1,000 hours in this game alone, give or take.
Oh yeah,
maybe 100.
Well, that's also very important to understand is you're also investing a lot of time. You're not somebody who's going to play crap.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the game that really I think Josh would like, because I remember Josh being I don't like XCOM very much, and it's I loved XCOM. I think XCOM's great. The problem with XCOM is that it kept on fucking over my saves. That's
new. But then again, if you're playing in Iron Man mode, which is the way you should be playing the game, it will fuck your saves regardless of what you want.
I wasn't. But the big problem I have with all of these games that this company particularly makes is one thing will go wrong and I'll be well, can't recover.
Yep.
So then I'm well, can't recover, and then I'll just restart, and then I'll the one time I actually can recover, I'm oh, I can recover.
Is it worth me still playing?
No, no, it's not.
Actually, a really good example is one of the games that I play a lot of. There is actually there's a hard point where you're I'm not recovering, and it's just you stop playing the game for an hour just because you're so fucking pissed off.
Oh yeah.
And it happens more often than you'd think, because you're just sure, I'm a good fucking player, but if it fucking comes out of fucking left field, you're what the fuck am I supposed to even do about this?
Right. That's always an issue. And I always find those games just hilarious. It's it's just hilarious how people will be well, you're playing this game, and it's yeah, because it's fun.
Or the game just decides to say, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. This game does that often, where you'll be oh, I'm just going to get fucked. Great, fantastic to know. Fantastic to know that this game doesn't like me. Good to know. But it's also really fun and easy to play, because it's just oh, do these simple things. Okay, it's simple. Like, it's not very complicated. You're still enjoying yourself and you're still having fun. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's for as simple as it is it's a very simple game, but it's not something where it's like, oh, this is super crazy.
Which is
And
fair.
like, it's there's nothing like that will sit there and say like, oh, you're gonna miss. So like, it's like, oh, all of my hits are gonna actually hit 100% of the time. So it makes a lot of those little things like go away. So like one of the big things is like you can have like, and like they have different pilots and stuff like that. So like you can have a pilot that literally goes, like very simply put, he literally goes, oh, okay, like I'm gonna let you reset twice. Or you have a pilot who is only there just to like give you an increased reactor. You have a pilot who can land anywhere. So it's like, it's kind of like a miniature war game, but where you hit every single time.
I know I've heard a lot about this Into the Breach, especially through Giant Bomb. They love talking about it. But at the same
It's
time,
the game of the year.
almost. I think Tetris Effect took it.
Well, that game also is pretty good, but the problem with Tetris Effect is that it's a VR game.
Well, it's also VR, but I mean, you don't have to play it in VR in order to enjoy the stupid thing. And
But
and another thing is, Into the Breach is like, well, you know, sounds like a cup of tea I would enjoy, especially if it's like, oh, this seems very fair across the board. Of like, you know, if I'm hitting some turd beside me, is not necessarily going to say miss.
right, it's not going to do that.
Yeah, that's my only hiccup with any game. That it's, you know, if I'm going to be hitting a dude beside me on a fucking grid, he's right there, I expect that number to be 90% to 100. No in between anywhere.
Right.
Sure, there could be a 10% I miss, but I'm like, that's 10% I'm willing to take.
That's 10% that makes it worth it.
Exactly.
Like
90% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Right. And that I think is like a major thing that this game does well is like you're always going to hit. So it becomes more of a puzzle game than anything else.
Well, that's not too terrible.
No, it's not. So it's like, okay, go through this turn and then do these simple things. And that's the thing I like about this game is like, oh, it's a puzzle game that's really easy.
Ah.
So it's like, oh, okay. I don't have to work hard. That
Yeah.
sounds great.
Oh man.
Which isn't a bad thing. Like,
No, it isn't.
For me, this is the reason why one of the reasons why I like playing grand strategy games. Because to me, it's just I generally enjoy like grand strategy, overwatching like how the fleets operate and stuff like that. And
Yeah, you're one of those people who loves those games and stuff like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and argue with you because it's not worth it.
yeah, no. And I also get why you love fucking Destiny, even though I think it's a fucking shit game. I hate the mechanics in Destiny. I really do. They're not fun.
You
for
hate,
me.
yeah, you hate Destiny because it's like it's a worse Borderlands in every sense of the word, and I'm not going to sit there and deny it because there's not a fight worth having about it. But part of me wishes there was because that would make my life easier. But that's just me. So it's all kind of like dependent on like what you kind of want and stuff like that in this game. Anyways, I would say that this game is really good about doing that, and I think that people would like it. So people should buy it. Tetris Effect is also really good, but that's my other opinion. Does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about?
I had a pretty fun Christmas.
You had a fruit. Do you want to talk about Christmas? Because Christmas for me sucked.
Well,
It
you
always
can't-
sucks.
you can't
every
count
day
your fucking
sucks.
what happened to your fucking computer as fucking Christmas. You know that. I know that. Josh knows that.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh, what happened?
It's every year. It's just shitty.
Oh.
Every year, it's just shitty.
Is there like a reason why it's shitty every year? Or is it just
No,
like,
it's just shitty.
man? That sounds like a personal problem then. Oh,
It
geez.
is.
Sick
Oh.
cast. Welcome to the Black Sick Cast. Everyone's sick.
Except we're all
yeah.
except only about like 0.0% of us are fucking black.
Oh no, we're black lung cast.
Look, it worked right for Elizabeth Warren. She was able to claim that she's sick. She's what, 20% Cherokee?
0.2% Cherokee or something like that. And I'm
That's
like,
so
the
fucking ridiculous.
Fuck. You also hear what happened
So-
to what's her name? The fucking commie who got into in for the Democrats.
Yeah.
Cortez.
Yeah, let's not, because she's.
No. I actually really want to talk about this real quick. It's just gonna be one little thing. People are shitting on her for fucking dancing when she was a young kid. You're fucking
What?
dumb. Yeah, people are shitting on her for her dancing. And a lot of people are like, "Who the fuck cares? She's a young kid. She was allowed to do dumb things while in high school." But now she's trying to spin it as like the GOP is trying to hate on me for dancing. And it's just like, no, they didn't.
The internet doesn't like your dance moves.
The internet didn't like
Oh
your dance moves.
no.
And then a bunch of people were like, "No, we didn't really care. But if you're gonna like try and make this political, we will just turn this on you."
She's such a fucking idiot.
Oh God, do you hear what one of the fucking newly like elected Democrats said?
What?
Let's fucking impeach this motherfucker on her first day, and it's just like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, my God, this is like, these are our Southern partners, and I'm terrified for the world because like the West is slowly devolving in on itself, and it's getting scary.
It's not just that. It's like they'll do stupid things, and then they'll be like, "Well, like it's okay because it's against Trump," and it's like, is Trump the only thing that matters? I don't think they understand the consequences of what they're saying.
No.
Because the only reason why Trump actually won was because Hillary was being an idiot.
And that superpowers above everyone else went, fuck Hillary. We want money.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Which is reasonable, like, when you consider, like everyone was saying they're really hyped for Bernie. Bernie should have been president.
He really
it's
should have been
like-
president.
He should be.
I don't think he should have been.
Yeah, but, like,
He would have fixed so much garbage.
No, he
so
wouldn't
much.
have. No,
Bernie
he
would
wouldn't
have been.
Bernie
Oh.
is just as bad as all the other politicians. I hate to break it.
Bernie.
I hate to
think
break
he
it to you,
would
but
fix it still.
no. I hate to break it to
I
you.
think he would fix it.
No, he wouldn't. Because if you stop, Josh, and listen. Because you want to know how you can tell Bernie wouldn't fix this problem? Is because he talks a lot of talk.
Uh-huh.
Sure, he'll go out and do activism and stuff like that. But when you're elected, and instead of actually marking you down as independent, they mark you down as Democrat, and you keep saying I'm independent, but you're clearly running in the favor of the Democratic Party. You're fucking lying, and you are nothing more than a terrible politician. And it's actually the reason why, like, again, Bernie isn't a bad guy. I think he would be good as vice president. I don't think he's good for presidential material.
The only thing that sucks, though, is that, like, yeah, he's independent, and he has to, but the thing is, he's looped into Party A or Party B. There's no middle anywhere.
That's the thing is there is several other. There are like what two other independents in.
There's three other.
Yeah, there's three other in other, and you know what they've said? No, we're not we're not going to vote with. We're going to vote what our constituents want. We're going to stand by our morals. And that's completely different from Bernie because Bernie is always like whenever he wins, it's just automatically count as a Democrat because the Democrat don't even run a party member there anymore. Just say you're a Democrat. just stop fucking lying to us. He and in my opinion, he would make a good. Oh, jeez. A good vice president, in my opinion. I don't think he would make a very good president.
The thing with Bernie is that like I see what people are saying and I understand like why people liked him so much, but it's like at the same time it's like he's not a bad, like I don't want people sitting there saying, oh well, Black Might says that he's a bad guy. It's like no, he's not. Don't sit there and say that, because he's not. But like the fact of the matter is that he was, like, there was a lot of steam coming in for him. And it's very clear that people wanted him more than they wanted Hillary Clinton. And she rigged the DMC against him. And it's just like, man, like, you have to sit there and like go like, well, okay, is this, whose fault is this? Like, what do you think happened?
Okay, if you really want me to answer that, there are a lot of things that are, like, need to be broken down about U.S. politics.
Can I just talk about video games anyways?
Yeah, we can talk about video games. Let's go talk about video games.
So I play genital jousting. Not the real genital jousting. The video game kind.
The good one.
The good genital jousting. So, let me explain genital jousting.
Whoa.
Someone way back in the day put out a basically game jam idea of like, oh, I got this, wiggly worm game idea. He doesn't know what to do with. And he's like, fuck it. Let's put dicks in it. It's like, just put dicks in it and like put balls on them. And they're like, yeah, this is pretty funny. And then he's like, what if they have buttholes? So he put a butthole on the ball on the back end of them, and he's just slowly creating a game, just with this idea of just fucking put dicks in there.
Fuck it.
And yeah, and
literally,
so he literally fuck it. So he made a bunch of mini games for this dick game idea, and he went to a couple of to a couple of expos, and then it got a lot of traction because you're a dick. You could be a long dick or a short dick. You could be a dick with a dress or a dick with a hat, and you just try to shove your dick into another person's butthole.
I'm gonna fuck your ass, and you're gonna like it.
Pretty much. And freaking, so there's a lot of varying different mini games you can play as like soccer or what was it, King of the Hill, but I think it's like King of the Butthole. So like the last person to get their butt penetrated or something.
The last person who has penetration basically wins.
Yeah. And but with that one is like you're extremely long dick and you're trying to pay attention to both your head and your butt. So it's kind of complicated because you have to switch control between the two. And you're like, oh no, I have to go back to my butt. Oh no, back to my back to my head. I need to move that around. No, back to my butt. But since I only looked up YouTube videos of it at the time of multiplayer, and I was like, oh, this is a fun game. I'd like to play it, but it's multiplayer only. I'm not gonna play anytime soon. But I'm like, I'll buy it, and maybe something will happen to it later. And lo and behold, they have a story mode, and do you know what the story mode is? It's pretty hilarious. It's playing the character named John. So John is a dick like any other dick in a dick world. He goes to dick job, which is makes vibrators, and he helps make these vibrators for the company. And he's in a and he got a letter from what was it? It's stereotypical. Got a letter from the high school saying there's going to be a reunion for like the certain class or whatever.
Yeah.
And he looks on his life and he goes, "Man, this sucks. I'm a dick that didn't do anything special or find even a loved one." And he slugs his way into work. And he or slither his way, since everything that you're doing is just you're clumsily going through obstacles and objects. And you're running into shit in hilarious ways. And as you're going through this level, the levels and through the story mode, the narrator is going through the whole thing of like what the dick is thinking, what the other dicks are thinking. And the funny thing is, these dicks, they have their own personalities and they do stuff around the screen and stuff like that. But the way they talk and the way they interact with their universe is like, oh, that's both hilarious and kind of frightening. Because in order to collect anything, they have to shove it in their butt. In order to dispense anything, they jerk it out. So you can hear this. So you hear the sound effect of, and it just comes out the front of their dick.
Oh.
So it's kind of horrifying. It's like reverse
dirty.
Yoshi.
Dirty.
It's so funny. And also the narrator, when she's narrating, some of the lines are just gold. It'd be stuff like, "Oh, John with his butthole full of money, he feels like he's king of the goddamn world." And I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you dick. I love this dick.
That's another funny thing about the writing is like the writing through the story mode was like, oh, this is really good writing for this game because there's a lot of jokes I picked up on. There was like, oh, you didn't directly say dickhead, but you just danced around it in a clever way. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. Or another was you're buying stuff at a store and the store's name was Stuff Low. Oh, frick.
Josh, don't die.
Josh is slowly dying.
A little bit, but the name of the store was Stuff, Loads of Stuff, Butts, Loads of Stuff for your butt. And it's like, wait, are they saying butt stuff, but not really? Like, there's so many like dumb little jokes. And there's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, like the whole game is about this story of like how John is trying to find a loved one and he's failing and failing and failing. And like he slowly comes to terms with like, oh man, he himself was the dick. So he needs to be a better dick. So it's like it just slowly turns over time of like, oh, like he realizes how to be a better dick. And oh frick, it's a good game to sit like if you could find it for
sit down and
cheap.
just play.
Yeah, just to sit down and play through the story mode and see all the dumb jokes. Like one of the good dumb jokes was him traveling to different places, but it's just your dick model going around on a map and shoving a whole bunch of different map markers in your butt. So you're going to Eiffel Tower, shoving that in your butt. Then you go into freaking Japan, shoving their pagodas in your butt. And you're like,
That's just dirty, man.
You went to Russia and you shoved their freaking giant temples in your butt. It's just. It's just like a game made for me, basically. It's like, yes, it is.
It is, and it's kind of sad because
But it's like nice, like really good writing, and like the and the voiceover doesn't get tiring. I always enjoyed when the voiceover kicks in. So I'm like, this is real good. I really liked it, and I'm thankful it's short and not too long. It was like I would say it's at least a 3-hour sitting. It might have been better if it was 2, but I think it was pretty good for 3.
We've now discovered that Josh has reached peak dickhood.
Yep.
Josh is our favorite. Oh fudge.
Josh, he's our dick.
Josh realized Josh is our peak asshole.
Peak asshole and dick. Oh, sorry.
I wouldn't go that far.
Frick. No, I got fucking phlegm all over the place. God. But yeah, like, and also another quick game I ripped right through, and it was very pleasant. It was Gargoa. Goroga? I think it's pronounced that way. But anyway, it is a fancy schmancy art displayed puzzle game. So like it's really a mind-bending concept, but I'll try to best to explain it. It's you start out as a kid, sees a creature out of his window, and you're like, you have a book open in front of you for this kid, and he flips through the book and realizes, oh, I know what this monster is, and I know what the monster wants. So the kid is trying to find objects and stuff in the world to appease this monster that's peering outside in the world. So you're slowly trying to figure out, like, okay, I know where this object is, but how do I get there? And the game slowly kind of shows you, like, you have to move your picture frames around in order to get the person to the right spot and trying to get the object to the right spot. And as you're doing it, you're moving, like, okay, move this square down, and then I'm going to move this square over, and you're like, oh, wait, that's another frame on top of a frame, and oh, I got a whole new area to explore because I moved this frame over. And then you keep going and going, and it gets a little bit complicated towards the end because you're not quite sure what's a key item per se and what's a key thing to look at. But once you figure it out, it's not too hard. And I like this artsy or fartsy, bullshit most of the time. And I think that this art aesthetic and the puzzles are pretty good. And is there anything else to say about it? It's just it looks real good. And again, if you see Gargoa on sale, get it.
Get it? Really good?
Yeah. It's a really good game. I think the only gripe I would say that it is pretty short. I think it says 2 hours.
Short?
It says 2 hours on my playthrough, and I've already got almost all the achievements too. So it's it's pretty aggressively short. But it's something, if it goes any longer, I don't think it would have any lasting.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's the thing about something with aesthetic or a weird idea. It's you're not quite sure how long you could, stretch it out for, unless you're super clever about it.
Yeah.
But but for Gargoa though, it was a clever idea, and I think it stretched out as in gameplay peanut butter as far as it could, and it's some clever ideas of how you move the picture frames, how you move a picture frame on top of another one, how you move a character to one spot to another, and that type of stuff. So I highly recommend Gargoa. It has a very good, a weird, good story because you're following a child, but at the same time, the child's growing up through the game.
Yeah.
So you're it's just a weird multi-story going on. Doesn't explain it to you in any way. It's just you're through visual storytelling. So that's something I like. And so I highly recommend genital jousting on the cheap though. I don't think I recommend it full price for Gargoa. That one, either or full price or the cheaper. If you see it on sale, you might want to get it on sale because again, it is short, and if you're smart enough, you could rip right through it.
Yeah. Which is fair.
Yeah. But both of them are pretty awesome, and they're both hardcore contradictions to each other. One's high art, and one's very low hanging fruit art. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Dicks. Hey, I know we all played games during Christmas. I know I did.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, you play board games. I didn't play anything.
Well, the thing is, my family always likes to crank out either a giant puzzle, just a giant puzzle, or a board game that the other family members bring along with them. And for me, I end up really liking, what was it called? Bananagrams, which is weird because I'm dyslexic and I can't spell. But here's the reason why I liked bananagrams. Because A, it doesn't use Scrabble. Like, it's using the Scrabble tiles, but doesn't use the Scrabble board. The idea is you make your own Scrabble board by keep leeching off of your own words as you keep going. And as you keep going, and if you run out of tile pieces, you tell everyone else to go grab their tile pieces, and that's how you get rid of all these pieces. And you're trying to make your entire try to use all your board pieces and be the only person that got rid of all their pieces first without having any wrong words, spellings, or anything like that. Which and also one of the rules about the game was you can do whatever the hell you want to your game board. So if you got to a point where, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do with these 3 X's, and you realize you could have spelled like 7 other words with those X's, and then you're like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to wipe this board clean and use those X's this time, and then try to build up from there. So it's always a game of building, scrapping it, building, and scrapping it again. So you're just trying to find that perfect board state. And it's like, I like that idea. It's kind of more of a race with yourself than it is with other people. Although you are racing with other people, but it's like, it does get to a point with my family of like, what the fuck can I spell with this? And then someone else just looks over your shoulder and you're like, is that a word? Nah, let me check it up on Scrabble.com. Hold on. No, shit. Well, what is this a word? No, shit. Okay, can you put AI and IA and AI together? I don't think you can. Let's see. You can.
I can.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of discovery of like, oh, if you combine these certain words in a corner, it's like a giant brick of words. It's all legit, and you're like, that's crazy. Scrabble players must be like just absurd. Or Scrabble and what was it? Boggle players must be just retarded good at figuring out some long ass words. Like the more that we kept looking at it and staring at it, you're like, oh wait, you could do this dumb thing. Oh, you could do this really dumb thing, and you can make exit and portal over here, and you're like, oh dang, I didn't even see that.
Right.
But it's funny because Bananagrams, it slowly turned to, at first it was a competition, and then slowly over time we're like, what do you spell here? I need help. And then everyone just chimes in and helps in. It's like, no, it's not a competition. It's just to see how many words you can get. Yeah, it was a lot of, I liked it. It was no competition, just like, what the fuck can I spell?
What am I spelling, guys? I'm spelling dicks. Why are you spelling dicks? Because dicks.
Yeah, now, can I spell dicks with an X? Nah, I can't. I don't think we can allow that. Shit. Well, can I spell dicks with a Z? You know, being 90s hardcore? Nah, you can't be 90s hardcore. Shit. There's so many times where I try to spell something with a Z on the end of it and going, that works, right? No. Damn it. Punches. Fireworks. Yeah. I was gonna say, do you guys play any,
I
family
wish
board
I played
games?
board games. I have a LAN party tomorrow I'm going to. I mostly played Smash.
That's a board game.
I played Smash on New Year's Eve. That was fun.
That game is so good.
I found out that I like brawlers with no recovery. Lucario, Little Mac, Fox. I'm like, and that was the thing I discovered because we had a big group of 8 people here playing at my place. Like, we had the party here. We were all laughing up, having fun, and the entire time that we're playing, we're just fucking laughing. There was one point where where the statement came out, everybody pick a Pokemon, and we all picked a Pokemon, and I was like, well, I'm not going to duplicate somebody because somebody else fucking took my Pokemon.
I feel so insulted that you didn't invite me, he says, half ironically.
Jeff, where do you live?
I live in St. Albert, bud.
No. Actually, you would have been closer than Zip.
Yeah.
But the thing is the reason why I didn't invite you is because this was the 2 group of people who I normally hang out with, Kim, Chris, and Christopher, as well as Rory, Stefan, and Zip, as well as Cullen. they had both like said like, yeah, we're doing a Christmas parties, and I was like, actually, okay, so this is a bit of a story. And I'm gonna steal this podcast for a moment, and I'm gonna take you into the mind of my explorations into the madness that is the night of New Year's Eve. When I made a joke to my dad, where I was like, yeah, I could totally see, I would totally invite my friends over for New Year's Eve tonight, but I don't think Mom would approve of it. It's like, well, the basement's clean, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah. It's like, call Mom and see what she says. Okay, so I called my mom, and she was like, yeah, no, as long as nobody gets shit-faced drunk here. I was like, okay. So I sent out a text, and I'm like, nobody's gonna change their plans on New Year's Eve. I'm gonna be going over to Kim's. Who the fuck cares? Yeah, sure. Well, totally. Yeah. What's your address? And I was like, fucking what?
I feel so offended. Josh, do you feel offended? Josh is so hurt.
I went. So what makes it even more funny is the fact that I went from going to a party and just like bringing like snacks and extra like fun board games and stuff like that to hosting the party for two different groups at the same time, and I was just like,
it could be worse.
You're like, how did we get here?
That was the thing. Like, I went out, I picked up Kim, Chris came back with more snacks. We set up tables. We had a great time. I was not the first one at my party. My buddy Christopher, who lives out between Spruce Grove and there's another town that's just past it, but he lives like an hour and a half outside the city, and he drove into the city, got home before I did, and was like, yeah, I pulled up, and I just like see somebody in my parking spot. I just honk, and he just pulls out of the driveway. He's like, he waves at me, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I got here early. I'm like, I mean, I did say,
motherfucker.
I mean, I did say show up between 5:30. He's like, yeah, I got here 4:05. I was like, what the fuck? And then nobody else showed up till like 6 o'clock, like around 6 o'clock, and I was like, this is awesome, we're gonna have a great time. And then Rory was the last person to show up because Rory was out of town on family business. If he ever comes on, he can explain that, because it's not my place.
Was it bad?
No, it was kind of bad. I'm not gonna say other than that. So Rory shows up at 5 minutes to midnight, and he's like, fucking made it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, hi Rory, welcome to the party. He's like, hey. So we sat down, we played Magic, and he's like, yeah, by the way, it's midnight, yay, happy new year. It's like, where's the horns? It's like, where the fuck are the horns? Because we bought little like horns to like you squeeze and it makes noise and stuff like that. And everybody went home around 1:30. I got home. I didn't fall asleep till fucking 5 in the morning, and then I was up at 9 in the morning, and I was just like, oh. And so I've been recovering for like the past 3 days.
Man, sounds like everyone had a great time.
It was awesome.
I'm not bitter.
I'm not gonna pity you because I
didn't rip out a motherboard. That wasn't what I did.
Yes, but you also fried it.
What?
Didn't you fry it?
No. It just died horribly. If it was frying it, it would have happened immediately, Alan.
Yeah,
It didn't happen to me. It didn't happen immediately.
I don't know how to make that fucking sign.
Yeah. So
whatever.
Yeah, that was basically like my week. It's been great.
On and off, kind of okay.
Yeah. But next week I gotta go back to school and cry.
I gotta go back to school next week as well.
Back to school buddies.
You fucking wish. I'm in an actual learning environment.
I'm in an actual learning institution, boys. Oh, ain't that good for you?
Jeff's not bitter at all.
I'm so intelligent.
Fuck, I never said that. I just said I'm at an actual learning institute. You're actually technically at a institution. You're not even at a college. Oh no, wait. No, it's college now. That's right. It got upgraded to college a couple years back.
Nate got a college.
Yep, Nate's a college. McEwen got upgraded to university back in like 2008. That's
McEwen. I can't wait for Allan to just come on and be like,
What?
I mean, just be like, oh, why, Allan, why are you so angry?
That won't be me. I'm actually looking forward to my semester because I've got political sciences, introduction to sociology, history, introductory to psychology, and
So,
English.
So, Josh, when Allan wants to kill individuals, what are we gonna say?
No?
Don't do this.
No, please stop.
Please
No,
stop.
please, Allan, it's completely okay.
By the way, me and Cullen, who's also going back to that school, he's going in for the sciences. I'm going in for the arts. Huge in quotations. I don't really think fucking sociology and psychology and fucking political sciences should count as arts, but hey, what do I know? But like we were there and like they're like, yeah, here's the class. Here, let's go do this seminar thing. And I'm kind of like standing there like listening to them talk while I'm getting breakfast because I've already done all my like, here's my student ID. I've got my bus pass. I've considered buying fucking parking, and then I realized it was $160 a month, and I was like, nope, fuck you, you eat a dick. But while I was there, I'm just like, and again, I have no problem with like native history and stuff like that. But like instead of it actually being like a student orientation, it's like, oh, here's this classes, here's like, well, what you guys can expect. No, it was a native song and dance, and like, oh yeah, look at our cultural heritage, and I was like, I don't like the sounds of this. And then Colin could have testified to this. We walked around a corner while looking for our classrooms after Colin had gotten his his bus pass and stuff like that, and I looked around the corner and I just saw the Office of Gender Equality, race, gender, sexual and race equality, and then below it was like the room for sexual harassment, racism, and stuff like that, and I was just like.
Yeah,
Right.
it's funny, it's funny when you're right. It's funny when you sit there and they're just so smug and you could see it coming a mile away. I wasn't seeing having issues with this in 2012.
Hopefully I can just fucking power through this school and just not care about gender studies. God, I don't.
Or you could be like me and not give two shits anymore, and then somebody does something stupid and you're just like, hey.
You mean like what happened in Brazil?
World's going to shit anyways. It's
Yeah,
gonna be great.
world's going to shit. We're gonna fucking have a world war on our hands at this rate.
Dude is a fucking insanity. Dude is so fucking insane.
Are you talking about Brazil?
Yeah.
Dude, like a lot of the left is like, literally Brazil elected a fascist, and it's like, you guys realize that this is kind of your fault. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, you guys took some really radical extreme positions, bitched at people, those people got angry, and then you bitched at those people for getting angry about being like bitched at for no reason. So of course they reacted. He is the direct result of you guys not being like capable fucking leaders.
It's because people are idiots, so.
Fuck, I'm actually like worried, cause like it. And the thing is like the week before the election, he got fucking stabbed by an Antifa person. So like he's like at this point, I look at the left and I'm like, I'm you guys made this bed, fucking sleep in it.
Pretty much, like that's what you have to do. It's funny because it's like it's funny because it's just depressing, but it's also fucking depressing, man.
It's dark. It's sad. It's fucking And the thing is like Sargon has been in fucking again because I browse Twitter quite often. I was on Twitter earlier today, and all I just saw from Sargon was him arguing with left wingers, nonstop. Like they're like, oh my God, Sargon, you're not being centralist. You're clearly right wing because you support this guy. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm saying this guy's a horrible person and he should not have elected. But this is the result of your actions. Step up to the plate, own to the responsibility because he's your fault. And a lot of people are like,
well, it is. It's this is going to be a good show, and this is hilarious because it's like I've been like, yeah, like the only reason why I'm talking politics right now is because it's like I feel the necessary need to.
Because of the situation down in fucking Brazil.
Because it's like if I don't do this, it just ends worse.
Yeah. And I know Josh doesn't like us talking about politics all that often, and we try to keep the politics talk down to a fucking minimum. But this is a kind of a big thing because
I'm just sitting over here coughing. Don't mind me.
just slowly dying in the corner.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, it's just getting to like. I know I shouldn't say this. And honestly, if I sit down and actually like stop and think about it more and more often, I look at the situation, I go, we're on like I know we joke like I know Sargon like the thing is like I know a lot of people don't like Sargon and I know and like I tolerate him most of the time. I enjoy his content. I don't think he's always he gets when he gets smug he becomes an asshole. You know, like everybody. Count Dankula is fun to listen to. Souls Teal Deer, Dr. Randomicam, Armored Skeptic, and like this is just me listing off a bunch of people that I like listen to who are talking about political stuff and culture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Sargon actually kind of called this years ago because he was like, "No, you guys are going to keep pushing, and if you guys keep pushing, the center and the right are going to respond in the wrong way, and I don't want to see that. But the way you guys are pushing and acting and like being like a perpetuate assholes, just proves my point more and more often." And so this is the reason why like the fucking prime minister or fucking El Presidente of fucking Brazil said there boys will be princes and girls will be princesses for the and there will be no more fucking indoctrination in our schools. And I'm just like that. You know, I actually agree with that statement, but oh boy, that is the start
There's a better way of saying that.
No, it's not even that. It's just like that is a statement you don't want to hear from somebody who's just been elected.
Oh yeah. No, it's
And
not.
It's because people like again, people in the center are getting tired of just being fucking bullied, fucking handballed together and fucking put into a group that everybody claims is problematic, causes problems and stuff like this. And I'm just like, you guys fail to understand that the reason why these people react to you this way is because of how you guys act. It's the reason why like the right like free speech has become a conservative fucking talking point now.
And it wasn't even meant to be that way because you look at something like the Patriot Act and it was put in by conservatives and literally their entire argument was
neoconservatives. They were a little bit
neoconservatives. Yeah, it's not even.
And that's the thing that really gets me about the left and like.
It's like you go one way and it's like worse every single time.
Christina is preparing to become a teacher here in a little bit, and there was a couple weeks ago where she had a trans activist come into the classroom and like she got a picture of the gender unicorn, and I was like, that is propaganda. Be very careful right now. And then she's like, well, yeah, no, it's like they're coming with a legislation, and I was like, what's this legislation? It's like, oh well, you have to deal with the bullying or you could risk losing your job, and it's especially for like gay kids or trans kids and stuff. Like I'm like that is literally indoctrination, and it's fucking stuff like this. It's like it's not indoctrination. Not everything is indoctrination. I'm like, no, Chris, you fail to understand that that's incredibly draconian. I didn't press the matter because I really wasn't up for an argument about it. But I had a conversation with another one of my friends who kind of like sits in the middle with me. Christina leans a little bit more left, but she's not a bad person. Like she'll sit down, play Cards Against Humanity, make dumb jokes and stuff like that. But she is a little bit more like reserved about like her opinions and stuff like that. But I even like straight up told my friend, I'm like, because she was like, well, yeah, no, you're supposed to help the kids get through it, and I'm like, sticks and stones will break my bone, break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's like, no, words hurt, Allan. And I'm like, really? Because fuck, I was bullied since fucking grade 6, and she's like, really? He's like, yeah, you failed to understand that the thing that made me suicide was how I got lumped in with other people at Nate by people around me. But words never hurt me. It was because my mental state started to get there. And she was like, oh, and it's like, yeah, because, and I'm like, so how do you stop the bullying if it's just words? And it's like, well, you take the bully off to the side and talk. She's like, okay, you've now encouraged the bully because he's got a reaction. And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, think about it. Teach these kids how to stand up and be responsible for themselves. And like bullying will just like, it's still going to be there. No matter what, you're never going to get rid of bullying. I know everybody wants to stop bullying, how it's fucking terrible. But it's been around from time immemorial as long as there have been kids. Kids will pick on each other because kids are fucking vicious.
Kids are fucking
and
monsters.
if you're talking about like 18, 19, like 17, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids in high school and stuff like that, you can do a bit more, but like you still got to teach these kids to like take it on the chin, square up their shoulders, and fucking dish it back. Because if you can't, then they're just going to be.
It's not going to win well.
Like it's not going to go well because next time they get in a fight and there's no teachers around, well, what are they going to do? And I don't mean like actual fist fight, because that's the moment you're supposed to step. That's my opinion. That's where you step in. The moment the bully attacks the student that's being bullied, in quotations, of like being picked on verbally, that's the moment you step in. And like Kim's like, well, that's too late. And it's like, no, it isn't, because if you step in the moment the bully goes too far, that teaches that kid restraint, because no, violence is an acceptable means of like anything, period, unless in self-defense. And you teach the other kids like, no, if you go to the authorities after you've been like physically attacked and stuff like that, they'll respond. But like and that's the thing, is like you can't teach kids that words are violence, because then you get fucking censorship laws. And
well, you also can't teach, like, you also have to understand that kids are fucking dicks.
Yeah,
this is known. This has been proven multiple times that kids are fucking dicks.
Fairly often. But another big thing, actually, which is even funnier for me, in my opinion, was I was explaining to one of my friends in one case that if with these kind of setup of laws, it encourages kids to lie, because I'm trans and this kid did this. So what do you and as I said to Kim, was like, well, what do you do with the bully? If you can't stop the bullying by telling them to stop, because they'll just encourage them. So what do you do? And she's like, well, I don't know. You got to talk with the bully. It's like, that's not going to stop it, Kim, because as long as the kid's there, he's going to keep bullying. So what's the choice? And she's like, well, I don't know. And it's like, cool, I know the answer. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, you expel the fucking kid. And it's like, well, that's wrong, Allan. And I'm like, cool. That is the only answer I can give you, because it's the only way to 100% guarantee anything. And then she's like, well, that's not fair. It's like, that's the reason why this is a draconian law, because it isn't fucking fair. It puts you in a situation that you can't win. Because you have to stop the bullying. Well, how do you stop the bullying? Well, you either dismiss the kid, because if I was a teacher and I found out a kid was being bullied regardless, and I had that law hanging over my head, I would look at this like my principal and go, fucking expel him. I'm not risking my job over this.
Well, it's just not worth it at that point.
No. And like I've always like, I have no problem with actual like transsexuals, like people who have gender dysphoria, who've transitioned, stuff like that. I have no problem.
I don't think anyone on the show does. I think that the big problem that I have with it is that like
transgenders.
Well, no, yeah,
I have a big problem with that, because I've gotten to the point
where let's force people to be something that they're not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's that, and on top of that, it's even what makes it even worse is with these essentially transgenders, where it's like, oh yes, my pronouns are they, zer, and I'm just like, no, it's he, she, them, her, or, and this is where I make my hard caveat, where I give them some ground, because you know what, I'll give them they, them, there. I'll give them that, because you know what, it can be used in a neutral way for genders, but there is some caveats to that, because the way, for me, like I personally don't care if like I'm not comfortable with like my way my body is, and I'm just not sure what I am, so they, them, there works. You don't need 000, she's there, whatever. I'm gender fluid, and I'm just like, no, stop.
Yeah, please stop.
And I've always kind of like it's something that like Christina was like, well, yeah, I'll call people by their names. I was like, you really shouldn't. It's like, well, why is that? And
you're prompting
like you are letting them determine how you speak. And
That's not okay.
that's no, and she tried to make the point of like, and again, I don't mind Chris because she's fair about most of her things. She's not a dick about it.
She's not like the individual that made me want to fucking murder people.
I know
in
who
cold
exactly. I
blood.
know exactly who you're talking about. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, we all know who I'm talking about because I complain about it often.
But the thing is as I pointed out to one of my friends, or well, one person in particular, is if you want, as I've always pointed out, is it's because they don't want respect, they want control, and they want control for a few reasons. Most of which is because, well, if you control what people say, if you control how people act, then you control society, and this is clear in like Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia, China, North Korea, and
Well,
and
it's not just that. It's like it's been shown multiple times that like this is what regimes like that do is they sit there and they force you to think a certain way, act a certain way.
actually, so I was watching a live stream from Hugo and Jake that was covered by PAC Sitch and Adam Friended, because I assume that you watched as well.
I don't watch those.
You don't watch live streams? Really?
No, because I am like, I don't. There are things I can.
You'd probably actually enjoy it because it's just fun.
I would.
It's like if you just put it in the background and just listen to it while you're working and stuff. It gets pretty interesting because like in this podcast, like Jake and fucking what's his name? I don't even remember what the name is. They're reading Jordan Peterson's 12 guides to the world, 12 rules to life, a cure for an antidote for chaos, and they come to the point where like Jordan Peterson talks about like when the devil offers him complete control, and that's the pathway to like murder, rape, and like senseless violence. And they're like, no, I would use the power for good. And it's like that is the reason why absolute power. That's the reason why we have the saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it's the reason why.
Because people can't control themselves.
Yeah, and then Sitch made this really cool comment that I agree with. It's like it's the reason why in our mythos, in all of our stories and stuff like that, that those people who had the best intentions are always the villains because they wanted to do good for the world, but through their actions they've caused misery, pain, and stuff like that. And
well, it's not just that. It's like you also have individuals like that who sit there and are unable to comprehend what their actions are.
yeah, and it's actually the big reason why like I don't
It's
want.
a big reason why.
It's a big reason why I don't want like I'm sure I'm going to school so I can go become an officer in the military, which means I'm going to be in a position of leadership.
Right.
I don't want power for the sake of power. I will freely admit that. I do want a position so I can lead, so that I can use it to get a world experience and like grow as a person.
Yeah. You want to grow, and you've always been that kind of way as an individual. I can tell you that now.
Yeah. And again, I it's the reason why I'm starting to sit down. It's like, no, I need to start listening to some conflicting opinions and stuff like that, and like listen to things that challenge my opinions and stuff like that, which is the way I've been just like sitting down listening to them, like podcasts, listening to like videos and stuff like that. And like that's how I've been doing for a while, is because like I need to face this, because like if I don't and I just listen to a little echo chamber, then I'm not going to grow. So like a good example, on Twitter, I follow a fucking bunch of left-wing fucking nutheads.
Oh yeah, you should.
And I've seen right wing, I've seen left wing. It's the reason why like I don't 100% agree with Frank Sinatra or Aiden Paladin, or even like how some of Count Dangla's opinions are. But at the same time, like I'll see them and I'll go, I don't agree with that, but that he's allowed to have that opinion. And I've always been like that because like it's kind of the reason why I'm always kind of like worried about like, well, what kind of world are we moving into now at this rate? Who knows? I'll be right back. I gotta use the washroom. We can move on to a different opinion. part. I think because I think I've talked your guys' ears off enough at this point.
I think that the show needs to end. Dog's getting a little pissy.
Dog's getting pissy. I need to go get some
Cough medicine.
cough medicine for my throat.
And like it's getting time. Like time to close her down.
Yeah. Send us off, man.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for listening to the Black Mind Podcast. You can listen to us every Thursday on the blackmindgames.podbean.com. And you can also listen to us on your favorite podcast app of choosing. That could be
even your Zune.
Yeah, you can even listen to us on your Zune. That's interesting.
No one fucking has that.
Jeez.
Even the people who have a Zune don't have that.
Yeah, even the people who have Zune don't have Zunes.
Don't have Zunes.
But basically, yeah, like you can listen to us on any of your apps of choice. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes or other apps of choice. Okay? So, hope everyone has a good night. Hope to speak to you next week. And have a good night.
Have a good night.
I'm gonna hit record and talk about how my Christmas was great, but I was at the tail end of it. I was sick.
I am going to play with my volume settings still. Well, okay, as long as I don't get too angry, I should be okay. I am going to... Actually, yeah, I'm going to lower them a bit more.
Freaking the people I talked to when I was sick, they're like, "You sound like a different person." Yeah, that's what a cold sounds
sound like you're dying inside, Josh.
Sounds like 5 frogs jumped in your throat and they're all trying to speak for you. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's terrible. And I can tell you that because that is terrible. Okay, this is going to be fine. Okay, great. Yeah, I had a great Christmas. Everything went great. I bought Spider-Man. I still haven't opened it.
Nice.
Haven't opened it.
Nice.
My computer died. Yeah.
Not nice.
Yeah.
Not nice.
Yeah. That's going to be the episode image is just my computer, and then it's going to be like before and after crack.
Yep.
And do I sound bitter because I'm recording on Zenimus, my mini ITX build?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little. I'm a little bit bitter. A little bit pissed off.
Shit blew up this Christmas.
Should not have blown up the USB ports. I agree.
Is that what you did?
No, what happened was 50%. So the board has always hated like 50% of the USB ports. And then all of a sudden one time I was literally sitting in the Discord and Noah's like talking mad smack about me. It's like, well, he's probably taking the dog for a walk, Anthony. So like you should just play Call of Duty. And I'm sitting right there hearing him be like, you should just play Call of Duty. Like, he's not going to come on. And then literally, I sent him a message. I'm like, I'm right here. I can hear you, you fuck. It was the funniest thing ever because I think Josh was in that call and Josh was talking smack too about me. He's like, yeah, he's probably just like taking the dog for a walk, man. I was just like, thanks, you two.
At the same time, it's like he would say something. He's like, "I'm in the room," and we're like, "Why aren't you saying anything in the chat? Because you're in the room." And you're like, "You can't hear me."
And
no.
I'm sitting there being like, "Well, is it the cable? Is it this? Is it this?" I unplugged the cable, plugged it into another port, and was working fine. And I think I figured out. So I think that my monitor. I think that it blew up the USB port, so I don't know what happened. So, Yeah, $300 is what's going to cost me to get my motherboard fixed, and this is going to be fun.
I mean, it could be worse.
Mm-hmm.
It could have spiked your whole fucking system.
Oh, yeah, I totally could have. I don't think it's a power supply, though.
Well, still, it could have still ended up spiking the system, because there are times where like the spike happens, and it just fucking travels. I've seen it once with one of my buddies, and like we were sitting there, and it wasn't even like a really high quality fucking like thing. It was just like, you know, those little tower external hard drives that come with like 2-3 terabytes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or 10 terabyte or whatever. He plugged it into the thing, and all I heard was a loud crack pop, and the fucking fan died. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
That's a power surge.
Yep. Well, it's not even just a fucking power surge. Like, it fucking, like, we pulled out the fucking jack, and it's just fucking charred on the inside. And then I'm like, well, I guess that's time for a new system. And so he apparently took it in a couple days later to Memory Express, and they fucking popped it open. They looked at the motherboard, and it's like, yeah, you need a new motherboard. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, it's totally fried. Like, that's how hard it spiked him. And he actually pulled out the terabyte drive. He pulled out the little little notebook thing that he had that had like 10 terabytes on it, and he handed it over. It's like, is this still good? Because he had all his work on it.
I wonder if it was my monitor, because my monitor keeps going but I doubt it.
It might.
I think it's my USB cable.
It's probably your USB cable, but if your monitor has anything to do with the USB, it might be the monitor as well.
It does.
Yeah.
But I don't think. But this board, like, okay, so like funny story time from Jeff. This is really good, like computer hardware karma after like last week, where I like literally was like, "Fuck you," and the Great Magnet has spited me. But basically, when I first
the Great Magnet has spited you. So you mean the Earth?
The Great Magnet. So,
Mother Earth
Praise
is like,
the Great
not
Magnet.
today.
Yeah, the Earth
Let
is
me-
just
let
like
me-
the
let me
magnetic
show
sphere
you-
shifted and fucking shot a power spike through Jeff's computer because he was like, "Fuck
no,
him."
so I had a Mad Cat mouse. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And halfway through, the Mad Cat mouse started like acting funny.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this is okay, fine, I guess. And then one day, literally, was shot lightning out of it.
Oh, jeez.
So I think that
boy.
did it.
Oh.
And it only took 3 years in order for it to actually kill the fucking 50% of the parts on the board, to the point of where it was noticeable.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, this is fine, I guess. Okay, whatever. Hooked up my G502, which I should have done in the first place. And it just was like, life's good. So, yeah, that was the issue, I think. Anyways, let's sync.
I don't think I've ever had that bad of a computer problem before.
Don't buy Mad Cat ever.
I've seen YouTube videos of like, what was it? The Angry Video Game Nerds. What was it? The Jaguar accessories and shit like that. And also like how the Genesis 32X was meant to be played with and stuff like that. It's like, this is a clusterfuck of cords and trying to make it work and forcing 16-bit console into a 32-bit console. And it just doesn't work.
Yep.
No, it doesn't.
And it's like, that's the only like example of like, you saw like lightning shooting out of the back of the freaking computer. And I'm like, that's the only other example I can think of lightning shooting out, was freaking trying to hook up cords to the freaking 32X. Like, that's fucking retarded.
So, Alan, this is the clip. I'm just going to get it to the point of where it starts with the Great Magnet. And, yeah, okay, I will edit the show. Document this time around.
Yeah. We have not been doing that.
We have not been doing that.
Nah.
It's weird. It's almost like as if Rory came on and hated me and told me I suck and to my face. And Basically said I'm doing a terrible job.
Only real friends tell other friends they should go and die.
Direct eye.
Oh.
Wait. And genital jousting has a story mode.
It
Yep.
does.
This might be something I should play at school.
No, that sounds like a bad life choice.
Oh, that'd be so
Look,
great. That'd
it's
be
not
so
going to
great.
be as bad as when I said point blank. And I quote this because I did say these things. While a girl was walking by and she might have thought I was an idiot. But I did say I would rather suck dick for coke than do database again.
You should have. That was a bad choice because you've been like, man, I'd rather suck a dick to get on a YouTube channel than to be like that'd be a way better option.
I would rather suck dick for coke than do
No,
database again.
you have a terrible drug addiction. If you suck dick for something else, you at least have a better life. You gotta think twice about that. You're like, I'd rather suck dick for
You don't
a hell
get
of a lot
the
of money.
reference, do you, Josh?
I think too hard. That's my problem.
Oh, and I also got all my grades.
nice.
Got my grades back, bitches.
No, you need to like capitalize half of them and uncapitalize half of them.
I feel so intelligent. I am like sitting there. I'm like, I am a genius.
How did I pass this class?
Yeah, pretty much.
There we go.
Okay, shall we sync and then start the show?
Yeah,
That
sure.
looks like shit.
Okay, sync in 3, 2, 1.